So we were lucky. My wife bought a unit in Sydney long before she met me, so that's going back to 15 years. And she just paid that off, didn't think anything of it. Basic bought it with a very low deposit. And the equity that built up in that property over a number of years allowed us to have a deposit ready for our first purchase together. So that's a good thing. That's one lesson number one, maybe. You only have to save a deposit ever for the first property. After that, the equity in your property should be the way to leverage yourself into your next property. So now we get to, we also decided at that point that we were going to hold on to the unit. We were going to rent it out, and just, it was just about paying for itself. And we, somehow in the back of our mind, thought that it's probably important to just hold on to it. So we did. Nothing special, just put a tenant in, hold on to it, and live in our next property, which was our own place to live in. We lived there for 5 years, and then we decided we wanted to move back to where she was from. So we had this property, and where we were moving to was too expensive to buy at that point, so we decided to rent. But again, we held on to that property. It wasn't any difficult thought process. We just thought it's probably a good idea to just hold on to that. So we did. And now we're renting, and we got 2 properties rented out. And from there, we're like, this actually works quite well. So and we're building up equity in that property as well. And so we started to look at, okay, what else can we do? And we leveraged that into our next property, and we're leveraging that into our next property. Again, it wasn't any rocket science. We didn't have any major grand plans at that point. Now we're starting to think, okay, what else can we do? Where can we take this? How do we want to use this to build some financial security? Because along the way, being a mortgage broker, I guess, I have learned that a pension is probably not going to provide us the lifestyle that we want. And that's if a pension is going to be around, because the numbers just don't stack up. If you want to look into that, whole different thing, but the numbers don't stack up for the pension to be around for 10, 15 years time. Different story. We decided that we wanted to be self-sufficient. So we're like, okay, we got 2 properties now. We're going on to our 3rd. And where do we want to take this? How far can we take this? What do we want to do with that? Where do we want to end up? So from that point, we did start thinking, we have something here and we can grow it towards something. Where do we want to grow to? Where do we want to grow it to? And how do we do that? Where do we want to end up? So that we started a journey where we said, assets is great, but it's income that matters at the end of the day. You want 15 grand a month in income. You don't care about 10 million in assets if it doesn't produce income, because then you end up asset rich and cash poor. So we need to have income at some point that replaces our salary, so we don't have to work anymore. We can choose to work, and that's what we're working towards. What can we do to use these assets to build income streams that pay us, so we don't have to work, we can choose to work? And that's the journey we're on now. Again, it wasn't a grand plan. We were lucky that we just bought and held on to what we had. But from that, we did start thinking, how can we do this better? How can we do this smarter? Where do we buy to achieve the results that we need to receive, that we're looking for? And it just becomes a fun and exciting journey. If that's of interest to you, reach out, let's have a chat.